Hello, loyal fans. Welcome back. It's been a while. I've kind of been away from home, and I should have been away for a little bit longer, but guess what? The whole world's kind of in quarantined. I'm here at least for another month. And I've just finished a master's program as of basically tonight, finishing it online. So I finally have some more time. Basically, exactly a month to get some progress done on this. Well, not just one army, a bunch of armies. If you followed the last bit of progress that I made, I was working on Ogre Kingdoms. I went a little bit further with that, but not that far. I was also working on Slaanesh. At least some of the models that I didn't have fully painted by the rest of the fully painted army that I bought already. Um, there's still a ton of stuff to get. There's a lot of the Juan Diaz demonettes that I just haven't painted at all because I'm kind of too afraid to paint them, because I also know that they're just like, if I paint them and they're like, you know, the best thing I have, hypothetically, and then I want to take them travel with them anywhere, um, because now at the moment I'm still living in Toronto for a while, not here but there. Um, if I bring them there, I know those models are so finicky. Like, most of them will break before I get to mini wargaming, assuming it's even open by the time I get there, which is probably not with the way the world is going right now. So really, it hasn't been a rush to get those things done. But yeah, and then I was also working on the Orcs and Goblins, which I didn't do. I've got the Chaos Dwarves, which are more like the Magic Dwarves, but whatever. Um, they're also kind of ready to be done quickly with an airbrush, maybe. Um, and then some Beastmen, Too many things to finish because I didn't really finish the last projects, and there's a bunch of things. Part of that is because I shattered my kneecap last year. Anyway, I'm going to get a battle done, just because I'm kind of celebrating being done school, and yeah, did a bit of painting. I'll get more into that later, don't you worry. So here's a battle that I've already kind of done twice in the last week. High Elves against Slaanesh, kind of my two favorites. And they both won one game each so far, but I changed up the list for Slaanesh, so at least it has two Soul Grinders, which sounds cheesy, but when you consider how weak their army is otherwise, especially if they lose their keeper, they got about nothing. So I'll show you the paint progress and the armies in just a sec. Okay, to the armies. This is the High Elf army at 2,500 points. 3 characters. General has the Shield of the Mareworm, Ogre Blade, the +2 Strength, 1 sword, and Golden Crown of Atrazar. The Mage is level 4 with the Book of Hoeth, and these 4 spells: Fury Convocation, Walk Between Worlds, Hand of Glory, and Apotheosis. Battle Standard, we'll go with there. Has a Star Lance, even though it's not modeled onto the model. That pole is actually a banner, and the banner fell off. Star Lance and Dragon Helm. And then you got 13 Silver Helms with the command, 6 Illyrian Reavers, 5 Dragon Princes, I think with the +1 movement banner, just with a standard, no champion or musician. 2 Great Eagles, 2 Frostart Phoenixes, 20 Archers, even though they're not actually Archer models, 30 White Lions, with the banner of the World Dragon. However, because they're playing against Chaos Demons, that sounds way too powerful. I'm going to drop it down to a 4+ ward. I may keep it to a 2+ ward against miscasts, just because I like that part of it. But other than, yeah, because otherwise, yeah, every single demon attack, giving them like a 2-0 board save is way too powerful. And then you got the Slaanesh army over here. So these guys were painted by Chaos Gamer in New Jersey. 50 demons with command, Soul Grinder with Big Claw, Demon Bane Claw, 6 Slaanesh mounted demonettes with standard and musician, 10 normal demonettes just as extra core, 2 units of 3 fiends, Soul Grinder as well with Big Claw, battle standard with the Always Strikes First, Locus for the demonettes, and then Exalted Greater Demon, or not Exalted, sorry, just Keeper of Secrets, the normal one. Level 4 with Acquiescence, Hysterical Frenzy, Phantasmagoria, Cacophonic Choir, as well as an Exalted Gift, which is +3 Strength, and a Lesser Gift, which is Always Strikes First. The scenario is number 5, which is split up diagonally. Slaanesh gets to pick, so it's going to be this way, which kind of splits up the deployment zone of the opponent if Slaanesh deploys over here. Alright, and I'll come back after movement, or deployment. And after deployment, this is how it looks. Slaanesh deployed first. Pick this. In terms of reserves, one Soul Grinder couldn't deploy. High Elves are not quite as fortunate, so they moved further back and more defensively. The White Lions, Frostheart, and the Reavers, and the two on-foot characters from the White Lions are all held in reserve. And likely Slaanesh is going to go first. Let's find out. Yep, Slaanesh is going first. So, see what happens. Okay, the end of turn 1. Slaanesh went first, moved up. Extra Soul Grinder moved up there. The mounted demonettes, which were over there, had the extra fast cavalry, reserve move, and then moved 20 all the way over here. And then the demonettes moved that way because, they can get out of there. These guys will probably be good enough to hold up that flank. Both those two units were staring down the archers. And the Keeper's Secrets moved a full 20 inches forward, trying to press the issue with the Silver Helms, because there was no mage to stop its magic. So it moved within 12 inches of the Silver Helms to cast Cacophonic Choir. It needed a 12, and it rolled a 7 on 3 dice. Well, it would have needed an 8 because of the +4 magic. So it was 1 off and failed. Otherwise, that could have killed a lot of Silver Helms with no armor saves. That's kind of okay because it stared down a Silver Helm charge. They charged. The Battle Standard, or the Keeper declared a challenge. Battle Standard accepted it with the Star Lance. Might not have been the smartest move, but really the Silver Helms otherwise were hitting on 5s without rerolls. Star Lance did absolutely no damage. The Keeper did 4 wounds, so it killed him. Her. 1 combat by 1. Silver Helms held. And then the reserves for the High Elves all moved out over here, except for the Reavers, which moved in over there. Because these guys are probably going to charge the archers. The Great Eagle is holding up both of them. Soul Grinder is a little too far away, and those last 10 demonettes aren't going to do much. Archery took down 1 mounted demonette and 2 wounds off the fiends. And the Frostheart there failed to charge against the mounted demonettes, with rolling 3 2s. So that Frostheart's not in combat, it's just an inch behind. Perhaps to do a long bomb next turn, we'll see. And then hopefully the White Lions will be able to go against the Soul Grinder. But this Great Eagle is holding it up right now, so it's going to have to charge that one first. Okay, this is the end of the Slaanesh turn 2. Lots happened. Soul Grinder charged. The Great Eagle is still there because they did 1 wound to each other each, and the Great Eagle held at leadership 10-1. The Fiends charged all the way over there to the flank of the Silver Helms, killed 1. The Keeper was in a challenge with the champion, killed him 3 times over. 1 combat, but the Silver Helms are still steadfast for having 5 more models in the front rank, and no other unit is in combat with them, with 5 more models, so they held. Over here, the Fiends charged the Great Eagle in front of them. 1 combat, overran 12 inches, and almost got into the archers. The mounted demonettes, though, because they lost 1 model from shooting from the Reavers, they weren't blocked by the Great Eagle, so they charged the Reavers. Stand and shoot killed none of them. They went into combat, killed 2, lost 2. 1 combat by 1 because of their banner. They failed, or the leadership test was further than 12 inches from the general, and there's no battle standard left. So they fled, which caused panic to the Frostheart beside it, who had to flee directly away from them, which ended up being 7 inches above the Dragon Princes, which means that he had to move on further through the White Lions, through to the edge of the board. So he died from panic, and the Reavers were ran over. So, not so good for the High Elves. Oh, and then Acquiescence is on the White Lions, so they can only move d6 inches in a random direction. High Elves turn 2 is a little interesting. Oh, I didn't take those casualties out of the way. Soul Grinder 1 combat and just reformed. Frostheart charged the Fiends along with the Dragon Princes. Dragon Princes lost 2 models in combat, but they're fine. And the Frostheart also killed 2 of them. The Keeper only killed 2 Silver Helms, which was really sad. And 1 combat by 3 anyways. Keeper was fine with a 3 leadership, and the last Fiend died from instability. Magic though, Fury Convocation was the only thing that went off at lots of low magic rolls, but it decimated that unit, and it's still on there. What was that, like 23 casualties, something like that. Fiends were charged by the archers because I thought that might be a good idea. Fiends ended up killing 5 of them though, including stomps. 1 combat by 1. Archers failed and fled off the board. So the entire flank is now Slaanesh. High Elves are still looking good over here though, so we'll see what happens next. Turn 3 Slaanesh. The Frostheart is off of its base, but its base is still there, and it is still completely fine. Slaanesh charged the Demonettes into the Silver Helms, and the Soul Grinder into the Frostheart. Dragon Princes were still back there at the time. These guys moved up forward. The Mounted Demonettes moved further up there. The only spell Slaanesh got off, it managed to dispel, had like 9 power dice, managed to dispel the Fury Convocation, and then it Irresistible Forced Cacophonic Choir on the 3 Dragon Princes, who were all wiped out, and that gave, surprisingly, 2 wounds back to the Demonettes. Kinda helped. They won combat against the Silver Helms. I think damage-wise they killed all but 1, and then that last standard just died as he failed his double ones to rally, or to break. Because it was past the first round, Keeper just could stay there. They overran into the Frostheart and managed to fight the combat there too. However, they did absolutely nothing. The battle standard should actually be further there, kind of where the champion is right now. And the Soul Grinder just whiffed. The Frostheart did 7 wounds against the Demonettes, so it actually won combat by 1 or 2. So it held. Everything's fine. Now the White Lions on their turn 3 are probably going to charge. Now it's the end of the High Elf turn 3. High Elves only managed to get 1 spell off, which was Apotheosis, which didn't really do anything, but that's not the point. It gave them a 6-up ward save. The Frostheart took 1 wound in combat, after the White Lions charged. So the White Lions, including the character, just killed the Soul Grinder outright. The Frostheart took a wound, but caused another 4 or 5, I think. So 1 combat by a lot. However, the White Lions weren't in combat still because they had no more enemy to fight, which was a huge deal, so they couldn't cancel out Steadfast in the Demonettes, which meant that they're still Steadfast instead of negative whatever. So they're still in combat, just with the Frostheart, and now the White Lions can't get into combat next turn because the Frostheart's in the way. So they reformed a little bit, but they're kind of stuck until the Frostheart dies. So Slaanesh is turn 4. Not too much happened, they just wrapped around. Phantasmagoria was cast, Irresistible Force, on the White Lions, so they got to take leadership on 3d6 instead. Took a wound off of the Keeper though from the miscast. Frostheart only killed 2 this time and lost 2 wounds. So lost combat, but leadership was fine. Leadership 10 rerolled. So end of the High Elf turn 4. Not much happened. They moved forward, hoping to get Walk Between Worlds off so that they could jump over here and get out of danger. They didn't get Irresistible Force, and Slaanesh with 4 Dispel dice rolled double 6s to stop it. So no spells got off, they're just stuck. Frostheart killed 1, didn't lose any. Lots of whiffing. So still lost combat, but it was fine. Has like 2 wounds left, I think. I guess Apotheosis could have been helpful, but oh well. So Slaanesh now has their turn 5, and the question is, The only other option I can see is the Keeper could flank charge the Frostheart, and then the three of them charge the White Lions. Keeper will probably kill the Frostheart with only 2 wounds left, because it strikes first with its always strikes first ability, lesser ability. Then hopefully it can overrun, get out of the way, but then they wouldn't be able to overrun because it's not the first turn. Unless somehow it is only reduced to 1 wound and still loses combat, but it's probably not going to happen. So they wouldn't be able to get into combat. I think what's going to happen is all 4 of those units are going to charge the White Lions. Keeper, even with only 2 wounds, is going to try and do as much damage as it can. And the end of the Slaanesh turn 5, Keeper did decide to charge the Frostheart. Did only 1 wound, but the Demonettes managed to kill the extra wound, so the Keeper just reformed. Magic did absolutely nothing. However, they only rolled 4 dice, 4 dice for the Winds of Magic, which drops the Demonette's ward, or Slaanesh ward, save to 6 instead of a 5-up, which was important in combat. 1 mounted Demonette died. Seeker only lost 1 wound. The Prince really... a lot of people whiffed. Out of the 3 White Lions attacking the Soul Grinder, 1 wound was caused. And... what was it? 4 or 5 White Lions died? So some, but they still have the back rank and they're stubborn. Alright, now it's the High Elf turn. Oh, and then they should roll to reform, actually. They reformed to face the other way. They slaughtered all the Fiends and the mounted Demonettes, didn't do another wound on them. Lost a few models, still won combat. The Soul Grinder held. They've reformed, so now that they're a rank of 5. The point of this is that now the Demonettes can't actually charge into combat. Because their facing of 5 models is bigger than theirs, because of the 25 mils against 20 mils. And they can't charge if the Keeper doesn't charge. But the Keeper can't charge with them when they're both a frontal charge. Because they're not going to fit, or the Keeper's not going to fit. So then it would fail, but then they would fail too. Interesting. And then Slaanesh only has them left. So, I'm not sure if the Keeper should charge or not. Slaanesh's last turn 6 was a little dangerous. The Keeper charged, although it declared a challenge, so it only ended up killing the White Lion champion twice. Not very lucky with his rolls, actually. Soul Grinder didn't get any damage either, even though the Prince was attacking it. So 6 White Lions died. They lost combat, and the Keeper managed to cast Phantasmagoria on them. So they rolled 3d6 for leadership, but leadership 10 re-rolled, or not re-rolled, just leadership 10 on 3 dice. They were fine. Alright, and the end of the game ended in a pretty sad challenge with the Prince against the Keeper. The Prince didn't manage to do any wounds at all. Keeper only did 1. Thankfully the parry save stopped it. But then the Thunderstomp against the character killed him outright because his parry save meant nothing. Apotheosis was cast on the unit, so at least they had a 6-up ward, but that didn't save him either. Soul Grinder only killed 1. White Lions took 2 wounds off the Soul Grinder, not enough to kill him. So they lost combat. They still passed their leadership test on 3 dice, though. So, all things considered, this is what's left, and Slaanesh won by 700 points. Or sorry, but 900? Something like that. Because most of Slaanesh's big unit is still here, with the battle standard, never died. And the Keeper, and Soul Grinder, and yeah, a lot more points. Death Star's still alive. Even if the Prince was alive, though, didn't die in that, it'd still be down by 600 points, and it would be a loss. So, oh well. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Happy wargaming.